Hi everyone, I'm Rita Levon and welcome to my channel at Love Build Share. And I want to first say thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are not already a subscriber, I ask that you would subscribe. On the right side of your screen right now, you'll see it pop up that says subscribe. It's a red square, so please make sure that you click on that subscribe button. And also please make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Facebook under the same name, Rita Levon, at Love Build Share. And I also will have those links in my description box. This is going to be a heart-to-heart video. I said we are going to talk about role models. And as always with my heart-to-heart videos, I like to start off with the definition of it to make sure that we are all on the same page. All right, so I'm going to be reading it from my phone. And it says, a role model is a person looked to by others as an example to be imitated. All right, so when I think of role models, I think of someone who is good. And it's so interesting, like, to say the word good. And matter of fact, how about we look up the definition of good? Because, with any definition that you can look up online, we all have our, different definitions of what we would call it. Ooh, okay, the definition of good says to be desired or approved of, having qualities required for a particular role. So, of course, with any definition, that can be taken and, turned into something else based upon whatever it is you're talking about and how it relates to your life. But because I am a Black person, I am a Black woman, I want to talk about my community. And I want to talk about how the word role model is used in my community, because I feel like the word role model is not that common, because we have turned words that were once good into something else, or we'll like take a word and switch the definition of it, and that has become the example. And the best example I can use is the word bad. When you think of something being bad, you think of it being something that you don't want. But that word has been twisted and turned into, oh, that's a bad chick, or oh, I like bad boys, or things of that sort. Those things aren't good. But we've twisted and turned them, and they became so common in my community. So I want to talk about those things as it relates to being a role model, because those bad chicks and those bad boys have become the role models that we use in our community. And I would love to see my community get back to a place where being good was actually something positive. So when I talk about like bad boys, I talk about men who are not making good choices. It may be men who have, been raised a certain way or lived in certain type of communities. Men that had a lot of money and were very flashy were glorified, and they wanted to imitate that. And that's why they wanted to become that bad boy. Or they saw that the bad boys were the men who were getting all of the women. And then that can be added towards the whole bad chick thing. Those women who were wanting those bad boys were the women who were, dressing a particular way. Those women then became like the bad chicks. So it became something that was glorified because it was so common. But when I think of a role model, I think of someone who is doing the complete opposite of those two type of people. I think of someone who is responsible, who makes good choices, who is usually that woman or man who are overlooked by so many people. But they're being overlooked because they're not a part of that popular crowd. And that's a good thing, because you don't have to be a part of the popular crowd. It's okay to be different. I made a video where I talked about self-awareness and how I always felt like I was so different everywhere that I go, and I still am. but I'm so different because I don't fit into those crowds, and that's okay. So when I make these type of videos, I'm speaking to the people who are just like me, or even if you're not just like me and you're looking to change or you're looking to see things in a different perspective, especially as a Black person, that's who I'm speaking to, because our community has glorified the wrong things. I'm kind of known by a lot of people as like being a researcher. Like when there's some type of event or something to go to, people always look to me to do the research for it. And I always tell people, like, all I do is use the internet. It's the same thing that anybody else in this world can do. I pick up my phone, I go to whatever internet browser, and I start typing in stuff, and then I'll start typing it in a different way, and then I'll start looking whatever city, state, county, whatever, I'll look it up in different ways until I find what I want. Well, it can be the same thing for whatever it is that we want in life. So if you are one of those people who is in my community, who wants to be better, who wants to be a role model, my suggestion would be to do your research. And also my suggestion would be to look at those people in your community and see the way that they live. So I've written down some notes here, so you'll probably see me looking down all throughout the video. But something that I wrote down is actually the soft life. And I've actually made a video about the soft life, and I will insert that video right now. The soft life. So in the Black community, it has become very popular to call Black women strong, like the strong Black woman, the woman who has to do everything. Well, guess what? We're not supposed to do everything. No. But that's became popular, the strong Black woman, because for so long as Black women, we had to take care of the kids. We had to clean. We had to cook. We had to do everything for a man based upon what type of man you're with. And this is where marriage can be such a beautiful thing. Because as I say, two is always better than one as long as you're doing it with the right person. But the problem is, in the Black community, a lot of us are not married. And when you're not married and you're doing it on your own, and you're so used to seeing maybe your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunts, and this whole single mother, single strong Black woman has become what's so common that it's actually very unhealthy. And it's became this badge of honor. We're not supposed to do it by ourselves. And of course, there are circumstances where we have to. So please don't get this message misconstrued. I'm not speaking of people whose, spouses have deceased, or, anything where someone has been attacked and they're a single parent. That is not my intention. All of us should be living with our spouses who are responsible, who we take care of each other, where we support each other. And then the people in our village can help us as need be. A lot of times as Black people, we don't get second chances. And it's not fair. It's not right. But life isn't fair. Life doesn't ask us what we want to be born into. Life does not ask us how much money we want to make. We have to do the best that we can while we're here. As I said in my self-awareness video, I've always been very aware of who I am, and I'm not putting myself into situations that don't serve me, that aren't good, where there are things that I don't do, that I don't agree with, that are not a part of my beliefs. You're not going to find me there. And it's not out of a, oh, I'm better than anyone. It's out of a, I know what is not good for me. And that's kind of where like my beliefs come in, where and if you're like me and you feel like one of those people where it's like, oh, well, I can't go there, I can't do this, you're not going because you know it doesn't serve you. And that's okay. And those people may, feel a particular type of way, and let them feel it. We all have feelings, but it's okay. So I'm saying this to encourage those who are like me, to tell you that you are fine just the way you are, that being a role model is a great thing to be, to have people look up to you and know that you're making good decisions, and know that in the midst of making those good decisions that there's also going to be failures as well, because that's where a lot of times people get it mixed up too. When I say the word good, people always think of just making everything right and nothing wrong. No, that's not it. It's that when you have those failures, you keep pushing and you keep going on, and you don't let them keep you down, and you don't let that deter you from what your goal is. That's the difference. And when I say you keep going, I'm not saying you don't take breaks, because we all need them, but I am saying that you stand tall in the things that you believe in, and you know that that's going to get you to where you need to be, because you know that that's your purpose. I watched a video on social media today where a woman was speaking of being wife material, and how when she was in her early 20s, she felt like men paid no attention to her, and she just felt like she was being overlooked. And she had a male friend who told her that everybody knew that she was wife material. Like, all the men knew that she wasn't just the type of girl that you could just, sleep with and just go on to the next girl. There was something very special about her. And she realized later in life that the one thing that really got her down in her 20s, once she got married, it was the one thing that she really valued. And I think that's really important to say, because for those women out there where you feel like you're overlooked because you are the role model, because you're doing great things, because you don't want to be that bad chick, because you're not going out to clubs, or you're not running the streets, or you're not doing all of those things in that realm, I'm here to tell you that you're on the right path. There is nothing wrong with you. Being a role model is a beautiful thing, because we need people to look up to. Because I don't think sometimes we realize, like, how many times in life there are so many people who are doing things they have no business doing. A lot of times people are just oblivious, and they want to be in this box of, I can do whatever I want and nothing will ever happen to me. And that's not how it works in life. So if you are like me, if you are a role model, please value that. And you may not see it now, because maybe you're not in that season of life where you can value it, because you're just around people who are so different than you, and you question if you are making the good decision because it's so different than everybody else. But I will tell you that if you are making the decision that is so different than everybody else, it could be that you're making the right one. And that's a beautiful thing, because people like you are needed in life. We need someone in our lives to look up to, because in the long run, you're going to make it. And people are going to see the difference. And one day, when you find that true value, you're going to see it as well. Trust me, you're going to see it. So I say all that to say that if you are a role model, or you want to be a role model, there's always a good time to change, and you can always make better choices. And the first step is to do research. And there's so many different ways that I can take this video, but I think I've said enough for now. And while you were here and before you go, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and help me get this video out to the world, because it is something that needs to be known. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook under the same name. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.